One.
Welcome, everyone. This is the DVMUG June 16th, 2026 Zoom meeting. I'm Peter Weiler, and we're trying a fresh start of this week's meeting. Hopefully, it's going to cooperate with us. We'll begin with news from the Apple realm, followed by videos, which cover a lot of topics that are current. Um, After that is a question and answer period. So if you have any need to get help with your iPhone or your Mac or whatever, this is the place and the time. And finally, a chance to socialize if there's some time at the end. So let's get started. This week's news, you'll find in the chat that there are two documents. One lists the news along with the URLs for each article. I recommend if you're interested in an article that you or a topic, you actually read the article because we're only going to be reviewing uh, a quick summary of each. And after that, we will move on to videos from the week and then the question and answers. So let us get going. The first article is on Apple's Big Siri update. Um, you see the URL below there. So Apple announced recently that Siri AI, which is a major upgrade of Siri using artificial intelligence, is in beta, and it's I think even available in that form at this point. Chat GPT and Gemini are not Apple products, but they are things you've probably heard of and maybe used. And Siri, quite frankly, has fallen behind. So it's good to see that Apple is moving along, and it'll be great to have a Siri AI that can work with what we're used to here. And anyway, are there any comments or questions?
Uh,
Okay, let's move on to the next. So, Craig Federici says that Siri AI is not into you. And
I'm Siri, your intelligent assistant.
and that's my phone making noise. Sorry about that. Um, there are some different products out there that will talk to you and befriend you and socialize and so forth. Siri AI is not going to do that. So Craig has stated that Apple's intentionally designed the utility this way, not to be a companion, but to focus on uh, supporting your use of products and engaging in that way, but not for emotional connection. Any thoughts on that one?
yeah,
Okay.
I'm kind of curious what they meant by not fostering unhealthy relationships. It seems
Well,
kind of odd.
Siri, I think what he said was Siri AI is not your girlfriend.
Well, there goes the whole episode of Big Bang Theory.
It's true of the other agents out there other than Siri AI. So
mhm. Yeah, Apple is intentionally not doing that. So, yeah, for the better, in my opinion. Anyone
So,
else?
so Peter, so what is Siri exactly going to do for you?
Should watch
That's a
some of the
long story.
there's
Yes. Um, Actually, there's some other information that's coming in the news or videos related to that. But yeah, Siri AI is a major update, and we will get to that. Is that okay, Bruce?
Just
Sure.
as an aside, by the way, when they ran the presentations at WWDC, they actually did something to the sound so that all references to Siri did not set off everybody's Siris the way
Exactly.
yours
That's
just
good.
did.
They
I don't
altered,
know how they did it.
Very, yeah.
they altered the "Hey lady" command digitally so it wouldn't trigger everybody's devices.
Right. Well, and when I started discussing this one, you might have noticed that my phone barked at me. So,
So did mine.
Mine's gone off 3 times so far, Peter.
okay.
If you can remember the rule is "Hey lady."
Or like Rick does, SIRI, right? Doesn't that work?
Or
Oh.
that other presenter we see sometimes who says, "Hey, Apple lady."
It would be nice if we could name Siri something else.
Yeah, I tried that. Doesn't work.
Like I could name it winch or something so it wouldn't pop up unless I
How
said
about
the
Hal?
word.
Didn't like
Yeah.
Hal.
Scooby-Doo.
Mine, mine's not a lady, by the way. You can change it to
Oh, yeah.
male voices.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go on.
Okay. Okay. All Apple Intelligence features are coming in iOS 27. So Apple is really jumping into AI with iOS 27, and they're able to do it pretty quickly because Google's Gemini have allowed a partnership. And so on newer iPhones, I'm not sure where it starts. Some of these features will be available, and on the newer, the ones coming out, Siri is going to be using AI to a greater extent. AI will allow contextual understanding, advanced editing, improvement with passwords, ability to actually describe a shortcut that you would like and have it create it for you, do the programming. You can see this all in on the screen right now, but it looks like there's a lot coming. Any comments?
What is visual intelligence?
Visual intelligence. I think that ultimately it will be that you can have your camera going, perhaps your iPhone camera, and that the brain that's inside the camera or somebody else's computer will actually be able to understand some of what it's seeing.
Got it. Thank you.
Like the demonstration they showed in the keynote was one of them was pointing your camera at a bowl of a plate of food and say, "Hey lady, what's the nutritional content of this
Oh.
food?" And it broke it all down and gave you like the content off the back of a package of food, all the protein and saturated fat and all that stuff.
Right.
That's handy.
What's missing is which platforms it's supported on.
I can tell you.
Okay.
It's on the 16 Pro and later.
Okay.
And
Okay.
the
But
very sophisticated features will only work on the 17 and later.
okay. And then when I looked at the fine print, I just bought a 17E, and it looks like it might not be supported on the 17E.
Yeah, I heard it was 17 Pro.
So Apple
No.
needs to say something more than just 17. That's misleading.
No,
Thanks, Bill.
the Apple Intelligence features work on everything from the 16 Pro forward, including the 17E. There are some additional features like tuning the way the voice sounds that runs only on the 17 Pro and the what was the thin one called, whatever that
The
was.
air, the air.
The air.
The overpriced air.
But that's only a couple of things that run only on those. But every other thing from 16 Pro on runs all of these AI features. And by the way, they are amazing. I had it today automatically create a calendar entry based on a long text stream. It found all of the information through multiple conversations and automatically created a calendar entry, even came up with the right title for the entry.
What command did you give it?
I didn't give it any after all of the conversation trying to set up a meeting. At the end, there was a button at the bottom that said "Add to Calendar,"
Oh,
and it just did it. It's just it really is cool.
okay. Thanks.
All right. The next article.
Article, I'm putting in the chat right now. I put a link to an article that was in the Sunday newsletter that explains what it runs on. 'Cause there's a lot of misconception about what it runs on and what it doesn't.
Thank you.
Okay. So there's a group of companies, but the only one I read about was that Apple is being ordered to pay nearly $60 million in Brazil over loot boxes. And a Brazilian court, perhaps Apple owes just a portion of the 60 million. But the loot boxes evidently are accessible to minors, and they might be resembling gambling or somehow exposing kids to compulsive behavior and exploitation. So I think the Brazilian court is seeking age verification to be built in and refunding for parents who might be upset. Any comments?
What is a loot box?
I don't know. I didn't look that one up. Might, a kid might really enjoy putting his loot somewhere, but I don't know. So the final news article that I chose was on every new Apple product coming in 2026 and beyond. And so, as with the others, you see the URL there. I have, in terms of the article, they talk about a 2026 roadmap that shows the significant hardware and software updates and key releases and so forth and so forth. I just went ahead and took some pictures, screenshots of some of the pages in this article, and it really is quite extensive and covers a great deal of information about these Apple products. So if you're interested in buying something this year or what might be coming down the pipe, it's a good article to look at. So, as I mentioned before, what I'm showing you is just a portion of what's there. Any questions or comments? Okay. So the next group is the videos, and you can get this sheet with the URLs for each video in the chat. Thank you, John. Let's go ahead and get started with the first one. Sorry about that.
Guys, Apple finally did it. They announced the new
Siri. All new Siri.
But this video is not about Siri. It's about iOS 27 and the exciting non-Siri features. Because life is more than just talking to a chatbot. There's better app performance, a liquid glass slider, new parental controls. Okay, let's break down the top 27 features in iOS 27. Just joking. We're doing 5, okay? We're doing 5. Number 1, system improvements. Apple is focusing on a ton of small things in iOS that really matter, including a lot better performance and roll the percentage improvement promises.
iPhone and iPad apps launch up to 30% faster. Now, new photos appear up to 70% faster. And when you share those photos or other files with a friend using AirDrop, they'll transfer up to 80% faster.
I'm 100% sure some percentage of those are true.
Number 2, liquid glass slider.
Since everyone's preference varies, we're adding a new slider in settings to adjust liquid glass. So you can set it anywhere from ultra clear to fully tinted.
It's fine. Just say it. Finally.
Number 3, Wi-Fi cellular handoff.
I am not going to lie. This was by far my favorite thing announced today.
We're making it more seamless for your iPhone to transition between cellular and Wi-Fi networks.
Okay, Apple, now do this for Bluetooth. The Bluetooth on my phone is constantly switching back to the Bluetooth in my car when I tell it not to.
Number 4, improved parental controls.
Look, if you're a parent, it turns out Apple has heard our cries, not the cries of our children. Those still continue. The company is promising a whole new slew of parental controls, and hopefully this time they work. A lot of the parental tools were already there, but some are enhanced, like recommendations based on age.
We're providing parents with recommendations based on expert guidance to help them decide what's right for their kids.
There's also a new setup assistant and a new website permission setting. And if a child receives or attempts to send imagery that might contain nudity, the system will warn them and blur the content. It even works now on live FaceTime calls. Apple says parental controls have a new underlying architecture, which should fix some of the underlying pain points, including syncing across devices. Let's hope this changes that.
Number 5, improved photo editing.
Okay, technically this is AI, but it's not Siri. As part of Apple Intelligence, you can now tweak your photos in new ways. The thing I thought was the coolest was you can readjust the photo angle, what Apple calls spatial reframing.
I can touch, drag, and the perspective shifts as if I had repositioned the camera in the original scene. This capability uses on-device spatial models, so you can preview the effect in real time.
Okay, bonus feature I'm excited about. AI is coming to the Shortcuts app, so you can just describe what you want your shortcut to do.
You could type something like, when I'm leaving work, message Pedro, I'm on my way with my ETA. Shortcuts then pulls together the system and app actions you need. In this case, it creates an automation that runs the shortcut when you leave your work address.
The great news about iOS 27 is that it supports devices going all the way back to the iPhone 11. Apple even says,
iOS 27 is available to more users than any iOS release ever.
There are also lots of little things that have changed in the OS. Here's Apple's massive list. I'm definitely into the independent alarm volume, which means that the alarm volume can be different than the general phone's volume. Okay, I'm off now to hopefully find Siri and to test her. That sounds wrong, but we're going to have more on Siri for you. I just need to take my time with her. Also sounds wrong. Stay tuned, and also stay tuned for more on iOS 27 as it gets closer to the release this fall.
So I just posted a link in the chat of that one screen that had all the fine print of all the things. It was in the Sunday MailChimp. I put it in the chat. It lists every single one of the 264 items in plain text, big that you can read.
I'm sorry, I was muted, but I said, "Oh, good God, good for you."
Yeah,
I think
Adam Angst from Tidbits took a screenshot and ran it through OCR and some kind of intelligent, made bulleted list out of it.
I am anxious as hell for the AI Siri assist on shortcuts.
It's supposed to be amazing.
Yeah.
You tell it just tell it what you want it to do, and it makes the shortcut.
Yeah, Mike, though, that your suggestion on using focus does a lot now too. Like leaving if you have your iPhone in your car, you could tell it what you want done. It works pretty good now.
Yeah, I use that one a lot, by the way. But do not disturb until I leave this place or something.
Right. Yeah.
That's one of my favorites. We finally got Rick Calacuria into there.
Hmm.
We brought him over to the dark side.
I like
Okay,
this
move on.
lady, the lady that just did that little presentation.
Yeah, Joanna Stern. I agree.
She's got a nice presentation. She speaks at a level I can understand,
Good,
which is good.
good
And
sense of humor too.
Yeah, sense of humor.
yes,
Let's move on.
Okay. So for our next video, we have Rich Bolin, and he's going to talk about Siri and iOS 27 as well.
I found this on the web for
Years, I've been telling you Siri is great for simple things. Set a timer, play a song, call your daughter. But the moment you ask it something a little harder, it was a mess. Well, Apple just made a very big announcement, and I think Siri is about to become something completely different. Something that might actually change how you use your iPhone every single day. Hi, my name is Rich, and I make simple videos on how to use your iPhone and iPad. But today is not a how-to video, it's more of a show and tell video. Yesterday, Apple announced that a brand new Siri is coming this fall. However, if you have a developer account, which I do, you can download the beta immediately, which I did. And I was all jacked about testing out the new Siri and making this video. And here's what I got instead. I've been added to a wait list. What? Honestly, I feel like Charlie Brown and Lucy with the football. We've all been on a wait list for years. Anyway, setting aside this frustration, I still wanted to make this video if for no other reason than to give you the big picture. Apple has been promising a smarter Siri for the last 2 years. They announced it back in 2024, but it kept getting delayed. But here's the thing. Apple said they scrapped the old version entirely and rebuilt Siri from the ground up. And this time, Tim Cook himself said Siri would arrive on time in 2026. And sure enough, they showed it off at their big developer conference yesterday at Apple Park. And the biggest change? Siri and iOS 27 is powered by Google Gemini, one of the most advanced AI systems in the world. Apple had been working with ChatGPT, but now Apple has partnered with Google to power this new version of Siri. And the results really do look impressive. Let me tell you a few things this new Siri can do that the old one never could. And by the way, I'm just hitting a few highlights. This new Siri is really deep. First, it understands context. The new Siri can predict what you need and understand context across multiple apps. So instead of asking Siri one narrow question at a time, you can have a real back and forth conversation. You could say, find the email my doctor sent me last week about my appointment and add it to my calendar. And Siri will actually do that all in one go. Second, it works across your apps. Apple announced cross-app context awareness. So Siri can work across your messages, mail, calendar, and more. And that means Siri knows what's in your life, your appointments, your conversations, your notes, and can help you connect the dots without you having to do all the hunting yourself. Third, there's a standalone Siri app. Siri is now housed in its own dedicated app, in addition to working across your existing apps. So if you want to have a longer conversation or ask Siri to help you write something, you can open the Siri app just like you'd open notes or messages. And that's a first. And here's something I love for those of you with a newer iPhone. Siri and iOS 27 will integrate with Dynamic Island, the pill-shaped area at the top of your screen on the iPhone 14 Pro and newer. Siri will always live there, always available, always watching for when you need it. Now, if you're like me, you have concerns about privacy. You don't want Apple, or especially Google, reading all your personal messages and emails. And that's a totally fair concern. And thankfully, Apple addressed it directly. Apple's head of software said at the announcement, we believe that privacy and AI is non-negotiable and that data is only used to execute your request. Moreover, Apple will allow outside experts to verify that promise at any time. But more importantly, if I understand this correctly, a lot of these new Siri actions will take place on your iPhone only, no going out to the web. And if it does go to the web, it goes through Apple's private cloud compute system, which protects your privacy completely, even from Apple. Apple has always been strong on privacy compared to other tech companies, and the new Siri will come with app by app controls so you can monitor your history and disable Siri for specific apps whenever you want. I think that's a nice level of control. Now, here's the important question. Will your iPhone get this new Siri? Here's what we know. If you have an iPhone 16 or iPhone 17, any model in those ranges, you should get full iOS 27 support with the new Siri, no features missing. If you have an older iPhone like the iPhone 15, you will get iOS 27, but with some AI features limited. And if you're on something older than that, you may get to update to iOS 27, but with no new Siri features. The bottom line, if you've been thinking about upgrading your iPhone, this fall might be a really good time. Okay, so should you be excited? I'll be honest with you. I always say wait and see with Apple promises. Apple announced a new Siri experience back in 2024, and 2 years later, here we are saying we really mean it this time. That skepticism is fair, at least to me. But here's what I think this time is different. They didn't just patch the old Siri, they rebuilt it completely. They brought in world-class AI technology from Google, and they showed it off publicly at their biggest event of the year. And that, to me, is a real commitment. When I'm finally off the wait list and do get access to the new Siri, I will do a full hands-on video showing you exactly how the new Siri works in real life. No tech jargon, just practical tips you can actually use. And if videos like that interest you, be sure you're subscribed so you don't miss anything. So that's the new Siri coming in iOS 27. Smarter, more conversational, works across all your apps with a brand new standalone Siri app and strong privacy controls. It's the upgrade we've been waiting for. If you have questions about the new Siri, be sure to drop them in the comments below. I try to read every single one. Okay, that's it for today. Thanks so much for watching, and as always, I'll see you in the next video.
Any comments?
I just posted something in chat though.
He did another more recent video of his experiences already with Siri AI, not just talking about what they said it would do, but what he saw done.
Oh, thank you, Jerry. Yeah, have to look for that.
Personally, I'd just be impressed if we could make Siri understand me. Apparently, I talk funny or something.
Did you ever train it?
Did I train it? I had a whip in a chair one time, but I don't think I got it to go through any hoops.
When you start, it gives you a whole bunch of things to say to it.
Yeah, I did. At one point I did that. I don't know. Can I go back and do it now?
I was going to ask that too.
I don't know if you can go back.
Because I'll still say, I'll ask her, and it comes up Alaska.
And if you say something like, make the appointment on Tuesday, oh, I mean Wednesday, she never got that.
Oh, that it does now.
That's going to change.
That's what they say.
You can have a conversation, you can ask a question and then say, oh, what I really meant was this, or how about that? Put this and this kind of continues on and refines its conversation.
Should have always been available.
I got a quick question. Is this normal for them to put out a beta 6 months before they?
Yes, they always have as soon as the WWDC, the day of that day it's released to developers.
Oh, okay.
And a month later it will be public. Public beta will come in July.
It gives the developers the whole summer to prepare their apps for the September release.
Okay, because I thought the thing was changing it from like 18 and 19 and operating system to giving it like 26 was it would be when they
It's like new cars. The new car 27 model cars come out in the fall of 26. It's the same with this. Now they just numbered everything they have with a year instead of have iOS 18 and Tahoe and like what's the number and so on. Everything is the same. Same number. All changed at the same time every year.
I just realized that.
Okay, well let's move on. The next one's a short one from Apple support on how to record a call on your iPhone or iPad.
You can record a phone call on your iPhone or with the phone app on iPad OS or Mac OS and find the transcript later in Notes. Here's how, starting in iOS 18. While on a phone call or FaceTime audio call, tap More. Tap Call Recording, and everyone on the call is alerted that it's being recorded.
This call will be recorded.
After the recording begins, the Notes app alerts you that a new note has been created for this transcript. If you'd like to end the recording before completing the call, you can tap the Stop button at any time. When you finish the call, tap the End button. The recording stops, and a notification appears to view the saved call. You can tap the notification to open the recording directly. Call recordings are saved in the Notes app. Open it, and the call appears in the list of notes. Tap to access the call recording and a transcript that you can search, edit, or share. On supported devices with Apple Intelligence enabled, the note also shows a summary of the call recording. This is so helpful. Let your iPhone take the notes.
Any comments?
Does the other person know they're being recorded?
I'm pretty sure that they get a
They hear the same thing you hear. This phone call is being recorded.
Right.
Okay.
I have noticed this was turned on automatically in Zoom for me when I turned on Apple Intelligence, and the other partner in the call did not know that I was, having a transcript. That's in Zoom.
Oh.
When Apple Intelligence is on my Mac M4 running iOS, I'm running Mac OS 26. That was automatically turned on.
That might change with Zoom eventually, but interesting.
Well, the transcript feature we did in the board meeting last month was within Zoom. It was a Zoom feature. It wasn't an Apple Intelligence feature.
But it wasn't notifying the other party that it was being recorded.
I don't remember that part. We were messing around with it. We didn't quite figure out. We finally figured it out. It worked.
Okay. Anything else on this past one? Okay. The next video is with Gary Rosenzweig of MacMost, and it's how to protect yourself from two-factor scams. Two-factor authorization is something you probably have encountered if you buy anything on the web or use the web much. And I think it's a great concept in which there's some control over having your account compromised. But Gary's pointing out a couple issues.
Hi, this is Gary with MacMost.com. Let me show you how to protect yourself against two-factor scams. So two-factor or two-step authentication is a great way to protect your online accounts against scammers that want to get into them. The general idea is that you not only need to know your ID, which is usually just your email address, and your password, which of course should be a long, unique password for each site, but you also need a second factor after the password. This is usually a code that changes all the time. So you enter your ID, your password, and then it asks you for the code. Then you get the code from a variety of different sources, depending upon the site or service you're logging into, and only then are you allowed into the account. Somebody trying to break into your account may know your ID because it's probably just your email address, and that's pretty public. but hopefully they don't know your password and can't get the code. If they do know your password, though, you're still protected. That is, unless they try to scam you out of the code. And they could do that one of three main ways. The codes usually come from an authenticator app. This is an app like the Apple Passwords app that generates usually a 6-digit number, and it's different every time. So you go to log on now, and it's one 6-digit number, but you do it, say, next week, it's going to be another 6-digit number. These are usually called authenticator codes. Google's authenticator app was the main one that originally provided these, but lots of different password managers can do it. Chances are, if you're using an iPhone, an iPad, or a Mac, you're probably getting them from the Passwords app, but you could still get them from Google Authenticator and a variety of other password apps that will generate the same code. It's basically taking a key that's part of the account and using that to generate the code based on the current time. And then that's what you enter in, and the site or service on the other end confirms. The great thing about these is they change all the time. So if somebody were to steal your code right now and then try it, just say 5 minutes later, it won't work anymore. It was tied to that specific time. But another way to get these codes is over text messaging. The SMS system, which sends out text messages across all the mobile providers, is often used for this. Originally, it was very often used, but it's less and less so now because of the problems we're going to talk about right here. So you go to log on to a site, you type in your ID, you enter your password, and then it tells you to look for a code that you're going to get as a text message. You see that code, you type it in, or in the case of an iPhone or a Mac, it's probably going to automatically put it in there for you, and now you can log in. That second factor protects your account, as somebody else who only has your ID and password can't get in. They won't get that code. The code will come to you if they try to log in. They never see the code. They can't complete the last step. They can't log into your account. But there are three methods that can be used to scam you out of that code and get into your account. Other articles and videos will talk about other methods, but those are usually just variations on these main three. So the first one is called direct calling. So this is when they're going to call you directly. And it can happen over text or email, but usually it's a phone call. So in this case, they've got two pieces of information and they're missing that third. They know your account ID, your email address, and they know your password. So they've gotten that from somewhere. Where do they get your password from? Well, it could have been a data breach at the site itself, or it could have been a data breach at some other site and you used the same password on two different sites. So they're guessing that you just used the same password over and over again. That's why it's important to have a unique password for every website. So a data breach with one site doesn't hurt you on other sites. Okay, so they need the second factor. How do they get that code? Well, first, they'll call you and they'll pretend to be from that site or service. A lot of times, they'll actually claim there's a security issue. So they're basically claiming to help you with security instead of actually trying to scam you into getting access to your site. So what they're going to do is they're going to say that there's a problem, and to make sure that they're talking to the right person, they're going to send you a code, and you can tell them that code, and that will confirm that they've called the right person. So basically, they're getting you to look in the opposite direction. They want you to think of them as somebody helping you with security, not doing the opposite. So on their end, they log in with your ID and password, and then it asks for the code. The code goes to you, not to them. So you get that code, but now because you've been told by them that they're sending you a code, and the code seems to come from the same place that they say they're calling from, you think it's okay. You tell them that code, and now they've got your two-factor code. They complete the login on their side, and then they'll quickly get off the phone with you because now they're into your website, and they can go ahead and change the password and lock you out. So how do you protect yourself against this? Well, like any other spam, you shouldn't talk to somebody on the phone or reply to text messages that you get. If you think it could be real, you use the real contact information, not whatever's provided in the email, voicemail, or text message that you get, to call the real company to figure out what's going on. Also, look at the text message you get with these SMS two-factor codes, because often they'll warn you against this exact kind of thing, but not often enough. Here's one example which plays right into scammers' hands. You could see here, you're just given a security code, It seems to come from the actual company. Like if you look up those 5 digits, you'll find that it's the real company because they're faking the caller ID. And it doesn't say anything special except that it's a security code. The person at the other end, the scammer, is actually going to say, I'm sending you a security code. So it all seems legit. A much better way of doing it is to send a message like this, one that right up front says that the company will never call or text you for this code. You should take that advice for all codes you get over SMS, even if it doesn't say that. You don't give this code to somebody else. This is just something you use when you're logging on directly and there's nobody else involved. If you find these videos valuable, consider joining the more than 3,000 others that support MacMost through Patreon. You get exclusive content, course discounts, and more. You can read about it at macmost.com/Patreon. Now let's look at method number 2. This is often called a man-in-the-middle attack, which makes it sound really spooky and scary. But in this case, the person trying to scam you doesn't really have anything on you. They just have your email address, which is public. You get tons of spam. Your email address is on spam lists. And chances are they're not trying to attack you. They're sending this out to like 1 million people. They don't know your password. They can't access the 2-factor code. They're going to try to get everything from you using this scam. So what they're going to do is send out this spam, and it's going to have a link to the site or service. It's a fake link, though. It's going to their website, not the real one, but it's going to look real. It's going to ask you for an ID and a password, and it's going to look just like the real site unless you look closely at the URL for the page you're on. If you fill out the ID and email address, it's going to send it to the scammer, who will then be notified that somebody fell for the first part of the trap, and then they're going to take that ID and password and enter it into the real site. Then that will trigger the 2-factor code, not you entering it into the fake site, but them entering it into the real site. But the 2-factor code comes to you, to your phone number. However, on your fake site, it's simply going to ask you for that code, just like it would if it was the real one. You enter that in, and it's still not logging you in. You're still not at the real site, but it's now sending that code to the scammer, who is sitting there waiting, looking at the screen saying, enter the 2-factor code. So they enter the code that you voluntarily gave them, and now they're in. There are a lot of scary things about this. A scammer can throw the scam out there to 1 million people and see who they catch. You don't really know you're being attacked. And if they get in, you may still not know you're being attacked until later. So you avoid this, of course, by not clicking on any links in emails or text messages, just like you probably already do to avoid spam. If you do go to the site, you should be able to see that the URL is different than the real site, but they can be really tricky with this and make it look kind of real. And you really have to pay careful attention to make sure you're at the right site. But the ultimate way to protect yourself against this is use a password manager. The reason that works is because password managers store the website and the password and the 2-factor code. When the scam email sends you to the wrong website, it doesn't match the one you have in your password manager. So it doesn't have a password for the scam site, which hopefully triggers your suspicions to look carefully at what's going on here and avoid this scam. Password managers are the ultimate way to avoid a man-in-the-middle attack of this kind. Now, there's a third method, which is scary because it doesn't involve you at all. They're not actually scamming you. They're scamming the phone company. So in swim swapping attacks, they need to know a lot about you right away. They need to know your account ID, they need to know your password, and they need to know your phone number. These things aren't impossible to get, especially if there's been a data breach, but they still won't have access to the 2-factor code. So they're using this scam to get that last piece. What they're going to do is they're going to call not you, but your mobile phone provider, and they're going to try to convince them to switch the phone number from your phone to their phone. They're going to do that by pretending to be you and being clueless about how to switch to a new phone. So the mobile phone provider shouldn't allow them to do this. But if they're persistent and if they follow certain scripts, they could try to convince the mobile phone provider to switch it. And then they could just go try to log in with the ID and password that they already have. And the 2-factor code will now come to them because they switched your phone number to their phone. Now they can get into the account. So this is scary because it can happen without any involvement on your part. But fortunately, there are ways, and really good ones, to avoid this. The first is to avoid SMS as a two-factor authentication mode. You should be using an authenticator app like in the Passwords app on your Mac or iPhone to get these codes. They shouldn't be sent over your mobile phone provider anymore. Now, that said, there are going to be websites and services that still have this as their only option. But if you notice that you're getting two-factor codes over SMS from someone, you may want to log on to that site or service and look at the security settings and see if there's another option. It could be when you first signed up, SMS was the only option, but they have regular authenticator codes now. Another thing to be on the lookout for is any problems with your phone, particularly with SMS messages. Like if suddenly you can't send any or you're not receiving any or the phone isn't working, then something's up and you're going to want to call your mobile phone provider to figure out what the problem is anyway, but be suspicious that this is what might be going on. Now, while this may seem like the scariest of all the scams, there are actually ways to protect yourself against this using functions at your mobile phone provider. They have different names for it. AT&T calls it wireless account lock, Verizon calls it number lock, and T-Mobile calls it SIM protection. If you have a different provider, they probably have a different name for it. Look into that now based on your phone provider and make sure that's turned on. Now, all the methods I've told you for avoiding two-factor scams, you've already done the most important one, which is basically to learn about them. Once you know they're there, you can start to take protections against them and be on the lookout. Also, tell your friends and family about these kinds of scams. Tell them about how to prevent them. Education is the best protection. Stay safe, and thanks for watching.
Yeah. Well, that took quite a while, but Gary is really very good and clear about what danger lurks and what to do about it. Any comments?
I had an interesting problem that I might related to that. I might mention that my credit union was using the two-factor thing at enter your password and all that, and then it would ask me, it would send the two-factor to you, and you'd punch it in. They stopped that. And then they started, the only time that they did it was when you tried to enter a transaction. If you tried to enter, you could look at your account, but if you tried to enter a transaction, then it would ask for the two-factor thing and go through the additional number. Now they've cut that completely out. I don't know whether your banks are doing that or not, but it's sort of interesting. When do they do it? Whether they do it when you sign in or when they do it when you try to make a transaction.
I
wanted to
have
point.
Chase. It's on sign in.
I wanted to point out that my mobile phone company, lately I've had some problems with, but anyway, they have assigned me a PIN, and periodically I changed the PIN in talking to them after I verify myself. But when I'm talking to them, they always require my PIN.
Right, so that somebody can't call up on the phone and scam them to change your number or something.
And this is consumer cellular.
Yeah, I have consumer cellular and the same thing.
Make sure you store your PIN and your password manager in the notes so you remember what it is.
That's right. There's notes in the password app now. There didn't used to be.
No. And also, sometimes they'll randomly, they could ask, a lot of places still use security questions, which are the stupidest form of security ever. Because they ask you, what's your mother's maiden name? Where did you go to school? What street did you? Those are easily findable. But
Medicare is still doing that.
that's really dumb. But if you do that in your notes and your password manager, it makes up exact verbatim the question and exactly the answer, including the punctuation and the capitalization and everything, because they don't care what the answer is. They're just looking at the text string.
Right. If they ask what school you go to, you could say banana split.
Right. You could have it say XXX000. It don't make no difference what the answer is as long as it matches the text string.
Right.
Anything else? Okay. The next video is by Trevor Nace on a secret Apple diagnostic tool to test features. So let's check it out.
This is really good. I've never heard of this before. I did it. It works.
The Trevor Nace or the Gary thing? Which are you referring to, John?
This one here, coming up.
Okay, good. Well, here we
really
go.
good.
Did you know that Apple released a secret diagnostic tool where you can evaluate your iPhone if you're running into issues with your iPhone? Or this is a great option if you're just getting ready to buy a new iPhone, you can run some diagnostics on it. I'll show you how it works, how to get it set up, and the various options. Now you can see here's my iPhone. The first thing you need to do on that phone is turn it off completely. So I'm going to press and hold the volume up and side button. And then when I see slide to power off, I'm just going to slide it and turn that phone off completely. After that phone is off completely, you need to do two things. One is you need to press and hold the volume up and volume down button at the same time. So press and hold both of those at the same time. And right after you've done that, you need to plug your iPhone in to a charger. So again, press and hold volume up and volume down, and then plug in your iPhone. So I'm going to do that real quick without trying to cover this up. So volume up and volume down, I'm going to press and hold both of those. And now that I have pressed and hold both of those, I'm going to plug the phone in to a charger. Now, after it's plugged in, you can see the little plug at the very bottom here. We're going to wait till we see that Apple logo. So I just saw the Apple logo. I'm going to release my fingers and it will boot up in diagnostics mode. And I'll show you exactly how it works. So we need to wait until it starts. Let me just center this iPhone again so that you can see it clearly. And once it does start, it'll give you a number of options to run those diagnostics. But the first thing it will ask for is to connect to a Wi-Fi network. So you need a local Wi-Fi network that you know the password of to be able to connect your iPhone when you're running those diagnostics. Keep in mind, this is helpful if you're at an Apple store or anywhere else. Basically, it allows you to run those diagnostics. So it takes a few seconds to basically load up and to run that diagnostics for whatever reason. There we go. Finally, it says diagnostics and repair. Diagnostics allows Apple to identify potential hardware and software issues, but you can use this yourself. So tap the continue button in blue and then choose a Wi-Fi network. So we need to scroll down and let's just choose this one and enter in the password. And then tap join. So after you've joined a local network, you can see it says connecting to Apple support, and it will pop up with some options for diagnostics. Let's tap on agree at the bottom. And then you can see it says run diagnostics. Tap to identify potential issues. Just tap on that. And again, it says connecting to Apple support. And it will give you a number of different options to be able to test various things on here. I'll show you what to start with and what the options are. So you can see it says choose a diagnostics to help identify potential hardware or software issues. The first thing, mobile resource inspector. Let's tap learn more. It says initial triage tool that checks the device's software version and validates the presence of parts, physical hardware parts, like the camera and the processor, all of those things. All you need to do is tap Start Diagnostics. Keep in mind, it does take 1 to 2 minutes for each one of these to go through. However, if you don't want to do that, you can also test the audio, essentially the speakers and the microphone on your iPhone. You can test for display pixel anomalies like dead pixels on your iPhone. You can also do the multi-touch assessment, check if the Face ID is working on the iPhone, and then check to make sure the camera is also working on that iPhone. So this is helpful if you're running into issues with your camera or the Face ID or anything else. You'll be able to fix it by going into the diagnostic tool, running all of these. And again, this is super helpful if you just bought a new iPhone and want to make sure it's valid, it's real, and everything is working. I hope this helps. If you enjoyed this video, check out the video over to my right. I think you'll really like that one too. And thanks for watching.
Okay, any comments on this one?
I just put in the chat a link to the official Apple support site of what buttons to press to how to get this going. So,
very
Yeah,
good.
I
I
never
could
heard of it before.
I
Yes,
never
thank
heard
you.
of it before either. I don't know how far back it works on the hardware. I did it on a 15, ran all the tests. It worked everything until my battery was a little weak, but everything else passed.
Yeah. I knew this was there, but I couldn't remember how to do that. And over this last week, I had somebody who had purchased an iPhone that was of questionable origin, and I wish I had gone through these steps to help her.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think I have an iPhone 11. I think some of my pixels on top are dead or something because it looks like part of the screen doesn't quite, it's either my fingerprint or fingers or something is not right.
So the test actually does, if you ever run a test on a Mac, where all blue, all green, all red, all different colors, it's solid. You can see if there's a pixel that's different. That's one of the tests. And the other one is the multi-touch. So it lights the screen up and then you have to swipe your finger back and forth across, like painting the whole screen to see if the whole screen responds or if there's any dead spots. It also does your speakers and your microphone, Siri, the beep, beep, beep tones. You lay it flat on the desk and you got to back away because it's pretty loud and it goes through a bunch of tests the speakers on the bottom and the speaker for the phone up on the top. I think once I took my older phone to Best Buy to get the battery was weak and I was going to replace it. And they took it in the back and said, we got to run a test first. And they tested it and they came back out and they said, the speaker's bad on this thing. We can't replace the battery. And I said, well, that's why I can't hear the thing. Because the speaker for the phone was bad.
Okay, so just to be clear, this is only for iPhones, not iPads or any other kind of Apple devices, right?
I don't know. Read the article.
Okay.
It doesn't say what models or how old a phone is required. It's a pretty short article. It shows it's screenshots of which buttons and how long to hold them and plug it in, just like he said. It was a very short article how to get it to work.
But it doesn't talk about iPads or.
No, it says iPhone.
Well, and the buttons that he mentioned, that's only for certain iPhone models. Older ones, there's different buttons to hold and press.
All right, so the first step is hold the two buttons and press until it goes off. Well, I just went into settings, general, go down to the bottom and shut the phone down. So you can skip the buttons on the first one. As long as the phone's off, then you press in the up and down buttons, which is tricky, and hold them at the same time, which is kind of a trick, while you plug in the charger. That's the trick. And it has to be a full it says 18 watt or higher charger. You can't plug it into a low powered charger. It has to have a full charge. Very cool.
Okay, thank you, John. I have one more video to share. It's from Apple support on guided access. So what is guided access? Well, if you have a small child or something like that who wants to play with your iPhone, you might want to limit what the kid can get into. And this is possible through guided access. Here we go.
With guided access, you can temporarily restrict your iPhone or iPad to a single app. This can be useful if you want to hand over your device to someone else, like a child, or it can help you stay focused on a task. When you start guided access, You can customize it to restrict certain areas of the screen, disable the top button, and more. We'll show you how to set up guided access in settings, and then how to use it with an app. Ready? Let's set up guided access. In Settings, tap Accessibility. Then scroll down to the General section and tap Guided Access. Tap to turn on guided access, and then tap Passcode Settings. Tap Set Guided Access Passcode, and enter a passcode to use to end a guided access session. Enter the same passcode again to confirm. You can also opt to end guided access with Face ID. When you're ready, tap the back arrow. If you tap Time Limits, you can customize the sounds that play when time is up. You can also choose to allow access to your accessibility shortcut when using guided access. And if you tap Display Auto Lock, you can choose how long it takes your device to lock, or prevent it from locking during a guided access session. Now that it's set up, let's use guided access in an app. Guided access is designed to keep you in the current app, so it isn't available on the home screen or in settings. We're going to use Safari. To start guided access, triple-click the top button or the home button on iPad, or the side button on iPhone. If you have accessibility shortcut set up, select Guided Access from the menu. If you've used guided access with this app before, the session begins immediately using your previous settings. Otherwise, your device shows the guided access screen. Here, you can circle areas of this app that you'd like to disable. We're going to circle all the controls at the top of the screen, including the search field, so our guests can only use the current page. For more options, tap Session Settings. Here, you can turn off access to hardware controls, the keyboard, or even touch if you don't want them to be available. You can also turn on time limit to set a duration for the session. When you're ready, tap outside the menu to close it. Now tap Start to begin your guided access session. A message appears briefly, and the area we restricted is dimmed. When you're ready to end your guided access session, triple-click the top button on iPad or the side button on iPhone and enter your guided access passcode. Here, you can change the settings for your session or tap End in the top left corner. When guided access ends, the restrictions are lifted. And that's how to customize your experience with guided access.
Okay, are there any questions or comments about guided access?
Yeah, one, he gave directions. He said go from settings to accessibility to general to guided access. That general isn't in there. If you go settings, accessibility, then you go to guided access.
What model or is it an iPad or a phone?
Mine's a phone, a 17 Pro or whatever it's called.
Okay.
He was talking about an iPad.
Oh, that could be. I didn't
Well,
check it on my iPad.
He actually said you can do this both on iPhone and iPad, but maybe he set it up on a earlier model or something. I don't know. I have a 14 and Pro, and I see general when I get into that area on mine. Anybody else have any experience with this one?
I have an iPad and it doesn't have general, but that's neither here nor there.
Okay.
In accessibility,
Yeah, it goes, I pull up my thing, go to accessibility, general accessibility, and then it goes straight down to guided access.
Well, Apple's constantly tweaking the software.
Yeah.
It might be a software issue.
And like you said, he could be doing it on a 15 for all we know, or something, or a 13 or something.
Yeah. hardware or software, either way.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to stop the share so that you can begin the question and answer period. And thank you for your attention.
Oh, thank you for putting this together, Peter.
Thank you.
Yeah, my pleasure. So there we go.
Okay, I'm going to share this briefly here because we didn't get it into the recording at the beginning because we had a problem. You see, everybody see that?
Yes.
That's
Yes.
a reminder of the Saturday we're going to have the iOS boot camp live and in person at the office and also available via Zoom at 10 o'clock in the morning. Rick will be there, Mike will be there, I'll be there running the Zoom.
We'll be doing 3 shows nightly at the same time.
All right, and the next reminder is next week. Special presenter Jason Snell going to tell us about his experience at WWDC 26. He was there all week, and he's on vacation right now. He wasn't at Mac Break Weekly this morning, and he's on page. We're going to get the first time back, so we're going to get the live hands-on report. He's been doing this every year for years, even before Zoom. He was doing it in person. So that's all I got. Any questions about those? Stop share. Any questions in general? We'll go to a new recording. Okay, hearing none, I'll stop the recording.